everyone. My name is Ed Symkus. Local film critic, been doing this for many, many years. I do reviews on WCAP every Friday morning. I write some pieces on the arts, film and music for the Boston Globe and for the Arts Fuse. And I was asked to speak to Mr. MacLellan. I have some questions for him, none of which he's seen yet. So one more little round of applause for him and Good job, man.
Thank you.
I want to give you a little background on him before I fire any questions. And I got all of these off the internet, so please correct me if they're wrong.
If they sound good, I'm not correcting you.
Billy grew up in East Bay, which is a community in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Much of the time he lives in Toronto, but he goes back up to Cape Breton whenever possible. There are some local connections. There's some family around the neighborhood here. Some of you are in the audience. He said Norwood and Canton and other places around here. So he comes to visit. And he used to, with his sister, used to visit this area in the summers when he was growing up, and went to movies right next door to here when it was National Cinemas, almost on the same spot. So welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Between playing hockey, soccer, and water polo when he was a kid, he caught the acting bug somehow. Acting got a little more serious at Concordia University and National Theatre School. Broke into the business doing some TV series, TV movies, and small parts and features. I first took notice of you in Maudie. That was the first one I saw, and I rewatched it recently. A sweet, kind of sad little movie. Loved that a lot. Caught up with him later on in the series Defiance, and a couple of years back in Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. He's also written some short films, recorded the audiobook version of Each Man's Son, I'm sorry. He's a singer-songwriter. And the internet mentions that at one point he was a movie stuntman. Is that true?
Yeah, what happens sometimes is like you'll be there on the day and you do have a stunt double, and then they're kind of like, Billy, it would look so much cooler if we could see your face when it happens. And look, if they're going through a car window, it's not me. I'm not doing that. But yeah, every now and then I'll take a fall.
All right, good job on that, and hope they paid extra. And now he's got a nice juicy part in the movie you all just saw. So a couple of background questions about you before this film, and then the film itself. You have referred to yourself in different interviews I've seen as a kind of a movie nerd, and that's good because I am too. And you said you've been like that for a long time. So when you were growing up in Cape Breton, it's a small area, was there a local cinema, or did you watch all of your movies on VHS, or how long has this been going on?
Well, I really got into movies a lot like other people when you could get movies and bring them into your home. I remember there used to be a format, and there is Laserdisc, and there was another format that was very similar to Laserdisc, and it was big, like an LP. And had great artwork on the front, great artwork on the back. But that was the first time I remember getting to take movies home. And there's something wrong with my brain because normal people don't remember like what the first two movies they got to bring home. You could tell me a girl that I dated, and I can tell you what movie that we went to go see. Like there's something about movies that just really sticks to me like glue. And the first two movies that I brought home when I had that Laserdisc player that we rented from Wilco was this is so funny. The Outsiders and Southern Comfort, which young men, it's a really intense war film.
That was a nasty movie.
Yeah, it was a nasty movie. I shouldn't have seen it at like 13 years old.
The Outsiders, it was okay to see.
Fantastic, yeah. One of the best movies of all time.
Okay. I've seen a couple of lists of some of your favorite films, and I'm going to just do a couple that I saw on the list that are very far apart. Top Gun and The Fall. Now, those films are very, very different. What is it that has to grab you for you to really like a movie? Is there one constant thing in it? Is there something special
No, I like all kinds of movies. I bet you nobody in here has heard about The Fall, the movie The Fall. Anybody? No. Okay, good.
Great little known movie. Great.
One of my favorite games to play at a party is what's the best movie I've never seen? So the challenge is to try to name a movie I haven't seen that's fantastic. And on my top of the list, The Fall is always my go-to for the best movie that you've never seen. I actually rewatched The Fall right before I went to Los Angeles for the premiere. It's so crazy that you bring that up. And it's fantastic. It was shot in 22 countries. They raised all the money themselves. And there's a little girl in it that's 6 years old, and they almost told her nothing about the process. So a lot of the movie, she thinks it's really going on. Insofar as much, the star of the film is Lee Pace, and he plays a guy in a wheelchair. The little girl thought he couldn't walk for the entire 2 months of shooting until he stood up. He had a handler going around with him and literally helping him with his wheelchair and helping him, picking him up and putting him in the bed. Fantastic, beautiful movie that's just full of love.
A little realism there for the girl.
Yeah, and another funny little side note story about Top Gun is when I was in grade 8, this is how much of a movie nerd I am. When I was in junior high, they used to do these little novels that they would put out after the movie had come out. So I read Top Gun the novel, Die Hard the novel. That's the kind of, I would read them first because you could get that first, and then I would watch it. And I did a book report on Top Gun the novel in 1988 when I was in grade 8. And then when I got to do Nobody with Bob, Michael Ironside played my dad, and he was Viper in Top Gun, and I was beside myself.
You do get starstruck, don't you?
I do. The best news that I should not tell anybody about that process is they put me in a fancy hotel in Winnipeg, and I got bed bugs. I got one bed bug. It went all up my back, and before my first day of shooting, I shouldn't say this story, who cares?
Too late.
I got bed bugs, and the hotel was so mortified that they said to me, anything you eat or drink at the bar for your entire duration here is on us. So every night at supper time, I would call Michael Ironside and say, dude, you want to grab some supper? It's on me. So we would go down, and Michael loves holding court. He loves telling stories. So I would just be like, Mike, tell me stories. And then I would just sign for the check at the end of the night.
Congratulations on that. My. You're a fairly established actor these days. You've been at this for a while. You got a lot of credits, TV and film. I noticed a quote, again in an older interview somewhere. It said, if you're giving advice to upcoming actors, I think this is attributed to you. If you're interested in acting, get a library card and borrow DVDs with director commentaries. It's like attending a free film class. Does that still stand as advice you would give?
When we were in LA 2 days ago, we were at Sirius XM, and it was me, Derek Kolstad, who was the writer of this, who also wrote all the John Wicks and the Nobody movies, Henry Winkler, Bob Odenkirk, and the director Ben Wheatley. And I was like, I forgot to ask him, Ben, are you doing a director commentary for this? And he's like, oh, I don't know, because DVD sales. And what's crazy about that thing for me, about that thought process, is that, like for instance on Netflix, you can watch the movie in English or French or Spanish or Japanese or whatever. It would cost nothing for them to just add another audio channel and sit with the director to talk about the film process. And the reason why I find that valuable is because the directors will often say, I feel like I didn't get this shot, or we were running out of light, or I think I failed in this scene. And for a young filmmaker or actor, that's super important to hear. And I think actor commentaries are useless because they usually just talk about goofy stuff in themselves. But director commentaries and writer commentaries, I think, are the best free film school you can have.
Cool, thank you for that. So let's talk about this movie a little bit. How on earth did this movie come into your life? And give us a brief version of what happened on the journey to the screen.
Sure, so I auditioned for the movie of Nobody, and I played Bob's brother-in-law. And for the audition, it said that Charlie enters with the largest coffee cup in the world. And I thought, everyone's just going to have those 7-Eleven huge things. And it's going to look stupid. So I just took my protein shake cup and I put a steel ball in it. And I started the scene by shaking it as loud as I could. I think that got me the job in Nobody. So I shot the movie with Bob. I had a couple scenes with Bob in the movie. And then fast forward to this audition, I was in Cape Breton in my mother's craft room. She was my reader. I put it on tape and I sent it off. Casting put me at the top of the list. They sent it off to producer Mark Propiciario, and he showed it to Bob, and Bob was like, I love him. He's the guy. And Mark says, that's the guy that played Charlie in Nobody. And Bob didn't know. He didn't recognize me. In Nobody, I had this huge beard, and well, that's kind of how I looked when I auditioned for Deputy Mike. So I got hired from that.
Wow. Okay, so Mike Nelson is your character's name. Did you know that that was the name of the character Lloyd Bridges played in the old TV show Sea Hunt?
I did not.
Before your
Don't
time.
tell anybody that. You might get sued.
Or maybe it was an homage. Introduce us to Mike. What makes him tick?
Okay, so like you're a film nerd, so I'm going to tell you who I based him off of, and no one's going to have heard of this film. There's a fantastic film with Paddy Constantine called Dead Man's Shoes, directed by Shane McDonald, I think it was. A beautiful little indie film, and it's this lead character, and he has a brother who's mentally challenged, and it's played by Toby Kebbell, and his performance is outstanding. It's a dramatic film. But really the only choice Toby Kebbell makes to express how he is different or special is that he smiles the entire time. And I thought, I think Mike is just on this side of the spectrum enough that he just smiles all the time. I also sort of think he's like Woody in Toy Story without like the bravery and the charm.
Yeah, he made me a little nervous. He was so happy and peppy. Maybe he was supposed to.
Well, I think he actually really likes the new interim sheriff. I think he really likes Ulysses, and he wants to be pals, but he's already caught up in all of the shenanigans of the town, and there's no way out, and it just goes. He does not have high status, so he is just along for the ride,
I generally do not ask actors for their process, but I'm going to ask you a related question. How did you go about developing Mike from seeing him on the page? What happened after you finished reading him?
Mike was instantaneous for me. So the first penny that dropped for me about Mike was when I did the audition. And there's the scene I auditioned with the scene where he's driving in the car and he says, first we have to stop by the sheriff's memorial at the mayor's house, or at Gunnarson's house. And the mayor's going to be there. And I say to Ulysses, we're going to the former sheriff's memorial service. And in the audition, I started crying. And I was like, no one else is going to do that choice. And I thought, they're either going to hate it, and I'll never hear from them, or they might like it. And they liked it. So that dropped in really quick. And the jacket was not in the script. Bob brought it up at the first read-through, and he was like, I gotta make it make noise. And I actually thought, that's kind of dumb. That's not gonna work. And it really works. It really works. So, yeah. I mean, what do I know?
Especially late in the film when it's part of the plot.
Yeah.
The noise.
And then you show up on set, and you meet the other deputy, played by Ryan Allen. And when I met, Ryan's a big dude, and so I thought, I'm gonna play small. Because interesting to me is Laurel and Hardy. They're very different. There's no reason for me to show up and try to play the same character as Ryan. So if Ryan was big, I was little. He is, I wouldn't really say he's smart, but he is much smarter than Deputy Mike. You know what I mean? So I like to try to find the contrast, the contradictions. So there's just more variation that makes it more interesting.
Cool, love that. One more question on this. You've been known to sneak in references to Cape Breton in other films. Are there any Cape Breton Easter eggs in this that we might not have seen?
This is the best one yet. So when Ulysses fights the guy in the hardware store with the nail in his mouth,
yeah.
He gets killed by getting the broom press it, and there's all those stickers on the thing. When he dies with his face against the cabinet, my CBAF sticker is right in front of his face. It's my favorite screenshot.
Explain what CBAF is.
It's Cape Breton.
Always
and forever.
Family members up there.
Yeah, he knows my one out.
There you go. Okay, I have one two slightly controversial questions. This movie's a hell of a lot of fun to watch, but it's very violent. What would you tell an unsuspecting audience? Would you tell them how violent it is, that it's constant and there's a lot of it?
I wouldn't tell an audience anything. Here's why. I think I might be getting my wires crossed. You might be able to correct me, but I think it's Michael Moore that has a film festival, and it's the premise of the festival is we just show good movies. When you buy a ticket for that film festival, you don't know what movie you're going to see. There's no poster outside. You buy your ticket, you sit down, they start a good movie, and you don't know what it's even called until the title comes out. That's what I think is magic. So I have this list on IMDb called The Best Movies You've Never Seen. I created it, I put it up there. And my pitch, after I ever tell someone, actually I completely failed doing it tonight, but I'll say, go watch The Fall, don't look up anything about it, and just enjoy it. Like, I feel confident, I feel like my list is confident enough that my list is good that I can do that.
Cool, excellent. Couple more questions and we're done. One more controversial one, I think.
It can't be that controversial because I completely evaded your last question.
Yeah, you did. Well, let's see what you do with this one. You greeted the early days of the pandemic with a film called Kitty Mamas. What exactly was Kitty Mamas? I've never seen it. I can't find it.
Yeah, it's out there. It's a trip. It's a trip. A friend of mine was making it.
Tell us a little bit about it, yeah.
A friend of mine was making it, and he's lovely. And so I said, absolutely, I'll do it. And it's about a science experiment with 5 women who end up giving birth to kittens. It's a comedy. I don't know if that's inherent in the premise.
I really want to see this.
It's a comedy, but here's why it was a huge gift for me. I don't do comedy. If someone did it in your television or show or movie, it was probably me. So I don't really do comedy, and they let me improv in a way that I felt I was in a Christopher Guest movie, like Waiting for Guffman or Spinal Tap. They just let me run with stuff. So they actually, when that movie ended, they sent me a one-liner blooper reel of my stuff, and I was like, I think I'm funny. I think I might be funny. You know, like it was a discovery for me. So then when I got to do something like this, and like there's moments where I can be funny, like I felt that confidence based on that film. So it's a kind of a little peculiar, little weird film, but I got a lot out of it.
I'm going to find it. So you don't do comedy, but you do music.
Not by choice. I would do comedy all the time. It's just no one's offered it to me.
But I want to ask you about music. I did a little research for this. I found performances of I Ain't a Jukebox at First Sight, and a beautiful song called Everything's Okay. I found that you can find them on YouTube if you look hard. What does how does that singing and songwriting fit into your career? Were you doing that before? Do you still do it?
It doesn't fit into my career. It fits into Cape Breton. Everyone in Cape Breton plays and sings. You can be at a kitchen party in Cape Breton and have a guitar and just pass it around the room. They're fantastic, inherent storytellers. The majority of my family are better storytellers than me. The majority of my family are funnier than me. It's just my path went a way that wasn't construction. So I don't think, it's nothing special to Billy MacLellan, but it is something inherently special and valuable to Cape Breton Island.
Cool, thank you for that. And lastly, you had a good amount of success writing and acting in the short film Camp Tipsy.
Yep.
Some awards and things. And I had read somewhere that you were developing a full-length feature film. Can you give us a status report?
Yeah, so I'm really proud of that short, and for certain grants and stuff in Canada, you need to have a flushed out feature film. So I wrote one, and I'm very proud of it. And the company that I was with that was kind of trying to get the name out, I didn't really have anything to do with that process. So they took a crack at it, and it didn't work out for them. So now I have that in my back pocket. So I actually was talking to producer Mark on this movie, and I was like, dude, can you have one of your people read a script that I wrote? And he said, send it along. So that's the process.
Right time, right place.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Billy MacLellan, the movie was normal. See it again. Look up his music on YouTube. Honest, it's good.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm grateful. Thank you.